Okay, so understanding RESTful API architecture. So this is, you can build your API any way you want, but just like JavaScript, when we're writing React or any other code, there are conventions we stick to, so there's consistency across the board. There's patterns that we can develop in consistently so all developers know what we're saying. It looks the same. So these aren't hard-coded rules, they are guidelines. These are a way to approach building an API so it's simple. Or more simple. So REST stands for Representational State Transfer. With I'm going to say it's RE. I think that's the state transfer. Because RST would still say REST, but it didn't look as cool, I think. So RESTful API architecture means that your endpoints should represent the state you are requesting. So I probably wouldn't just have a / here, it'd be / something to get a specific something. So RESTful a lot is how do we craft our endpoints? And what is an endpoint on a URL? Like here's localhost 7000. What is the endpoint of localhost 7000? /, right? That is the home, that is the base URL. So an endpoint would be an extension onto that, / dogs. Now if I made a request to / dogs, what would I expect to get back? Dogs. What data type would they be in? How many dogs can I get in an object? An array. So dogs, plural, I would expect an array back, a JSON array of objects or strings or something. So let's play with endpoints for a minute and test this out. RESTful endpoints. And we're going to play with a camping store. So here is the base URL. It is www.campingisgood.com. And on our Camping is Good website, we are going to sell tents and camping and other gear, sleeping bags, repellent, and what other things are camping related? I'm gonna put that under gear. That's probably good for now. Cool, so gear will get us to, we'll put food, just so we can see this, we'll put food, backpack, yeah, clothing. All right, I think we're good. We're thinking this out, this is good. Thank you for your suggestions. Flashlight, there we go. So through this base URL, we'd have to orient a way for a user to access all of these in the simplest way possible using a representational state transfer endpoint. So if I wanted tents, maybe it would be www.campingisgood.com / tents. And if I made a GET request to this URL, what would I expect to get back? An array of tents, probably tent objects. So we could have a tent.type and a tent.sizing, and tent.is waterproof. Now, what if my endpoint was this? Camping is good / tents / 1. What am I requesting? So what data type would I get back? Object. So plural, give me the entire collection, or singular, get me a singular resource. I'm using these two words because these are the words that MongoDB uses when we create a database. We will save collections. So collections of tent objects that all look the exact same. They all have the same key value pairs. Then if we wanted a singular tent, we'd make a get one request using a parameter or some sort to request it by an ID to get a singular resource. So a resource is one object in a collection of objects. Now this is the RESTful structure. You wouldn't want to say something like get tents. Yeah, we'll put a dash there. Why wouldn't I want to say /get -10? This would still work. I could still make a request and it would work. But is this redundant maybe? We're already making a get request. Why do we need to put that method in the endpoint as well? So we wouldn't do that. We're representing the piece of state, again, talking about backend state that we're requesting. Okay, how about gear? How would we craft those endpoints? So maybe www.campingisgood.com has a /gear. And if I made a request to gear, what would I possibly get? Possibly. Or I could get an array of objects that represent each item of gear so that you can make a subsequent request and get that collection. So this could be an endpoint that gives us it's a food button, a backpack button, a flashlight button. So we could click on that and then see all flashlights, see all backpacks. So it may be something like this, gear /backpacks. What would that request send me? An array of backpacks. How about this? A specific backpack. Cool. I think you're getting the idea. So clothing. Maybe it's part of gear. What would that get me? An array of shoes. We're looking at the final thing here. Now we had to go through a couple endpoints to get here, but it's because we're crafting our endpoints in a way that makes sense. It represents our state in the simplest way possible. Now, where are we actually going to put this mount path, this endpoint, on our back end? So I would like to see this. I'm going to send back, here's all the shoes. I would like to see this. What will my request need to be in the URL here to do a GET request and have this show up? Localhost 7000 / gear, clothing, shoes. And my server's not running. No, it crashed. What did we do? We got to solve an error. Hooray. What line number is it? What line number is it telling me? Yes. Something. Yeah, that's definitely breaking it. Okay, now let's make a request. Here's all the shoes. Well, what if I also wanted to make a GET request to tents? Could I do something like this? So now how would I get all the tents? What would my request be? Yes, here's all the tents. So how come it skipped this GET request and went right to this one? It's this first argument, the mount path. This is like the event listener. This is like saying, listen for a click event, but instead of a click event, it's saying, listen for this URL being requested via a GET request. But if we did this, let's change this to, instead of app.get and app.post, post request. Now it's listening for a post request on /tents. What's going to happen when I hit enter here and do this request to /tents? Cannot get to tents. There's nothing in my server listening for requests to /tents. Cool? Any questions?
So is that first time you see that
it's not running at all. Well, it's being checked because JavaScript will still run top to bottom. So it will check here. It's going to start at the top of the file, hit, and be like, does that match the GET request they just sent? No. Keep moving to the next one. Does that match it? Yes. Run the code. Now, res.send is like saying return in a function. It ends the server process and the server request response cycle is completed. So to end a server process, we need to send. We need to send something. It doesn't mean if we still had more code underneath here. Oh, one sec. Never gets old, does it? No,
I'm sure you're about to get there, but I'm sure there's some other way than hard coding every endpoint response.
we will be hard coding most responses, or not hard coding, but yeah, we won't just be sending text like this. We'll be sending whatever the database gives us.
I'm saying like for all the different endpoints, like say you have a ton, say you have hundreds of different endpoints.
You still be crafting the endpoints for the most part.
Where it's like a representation of endpoint.
Yeah, we will use parameters for some dynamic sense, but we do need to hard code these endpoints. This is what it's listening for.
And are endpoints relative or exact? I mean, like if you have like some the order that we are being read.
Yes, they are read in order.
Tense,
So if this was tense and this was tense, which one would run? Is that what you're saying?
No, the one below, well, the one below would be like tense / something else.
Yeah, because in this point we've duplicated the endpoint. This one will never get read. This one will always trigger. If we request a tense, we'll always get our shoes, which is bad. So
Yeah, so I mean, like if the one under it had, well,
Saying does it matter like order?
tense, 10 / 1 or something.
yeah, we do that. We'll get there. We're getting there. We'll get there. Whoa. We will get there.
Tense, the second one would be like tense / 1.
Yes, we will get there.
So
We will get there. Let's just keep moving. All this is coming. I appreciate the excitement. I am also excited.
I have a kind of off-topic question.
Okay.
When you get hired to do web development jobs, do you get like hired specifically for front end or back end, or do you kind of do both?
Depends on the company. Some companies you're full stack. You cover both. Some companies you're one or the other. Yeah, it just really depends. Smaller companies expect to wear many hats, do lots of things, probably both. And then you're considered a full stack developer. I have lost my train of thought. What's coming up next? Let's look. Yes, more stuff. Okay, so this is RESTful API architecture. Is there any question on how to craft endpoints to make sense, represent what you're getting? The concept is very straightforward. There's a lot of nuances to RESTful API structure, so I would read through this to see some of those nuances. Again, here are these terminologies. So if you need to remember the vocab, I would memorize these. Resource, a single instance of an object, like a single snowboard. Collection, an array of similar objects. The root URL or the base URL. The endpoint, the client, the server, and the request method. But it's a good, it's not too long. But. All right. I'm gonna